Yeah, yeah. Hello, good morning to all of you. We will start the program at sharp 10 a.m. We are waiting for our director, sir.
कहाँ से प्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं?
नहीं, अभी प्रेजेंट
वीडियो
हाँ
यस सर सब सेट है सर। यस सर, आप अभी नहीं पहुंचा सर, उसको फ़ोन कर लेता हूँ। मैं ये कह रहा था कैमरा सेट करा दिए वीडियो के लिए सर।
इधर से फोटो के लिए
ठीक है सर, लेकिन वही है कि वो ठीक है, मैं उसको फिक्स करा दिया है, बाकी तो फिलहाल निकाल देंगे उसको, फोटोग्राफ ले लेंगे।
प्रशांत आवाज
बोल देता हूँ।
आवाज आ रही है। हम लोग उधर बैठते हैं, आप बैठो। आप नहीं करेंगे।
टाइम तो रखोगे, टाइम तो छोड़ोगे ना।
टाइम छोड़ेंगे तो उसमें लोग आ गए अभी।
हेलो, ये भी आ जाए। नहीं आ रहा प्रोजेक्ट से आ जाएगा।
Good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you. I am Neetu Priya, session moderator for today's webinar. First of all, I would like to wish you all a very happy Librarians Day. I invite Mr. Deepak Shukla, Librarian Grade 2 for introductory remarks and proceedings of the webinar.
Thank you, Neetu. Good morning to all. Thank you, Neetu. Good morning to all. It's my proud and privilege to welcome you all to this third international series on Digital Health Connect, Health Knowledge Discovery Services, jointly organized with All India Institute of Medical Science, New Delhi, and Medical and Health Librarians Association of the Philippines. We assembled here virtually to commemorate the 129th birth anniversary of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, the father of library science in India. Amongst us, we have Professor Randeep Guleria sir, Director AIIMS New Delhi, Professor S. Rajeshwari ma'am, Professor in charge B. Dikshit Library and Head of the Department Anesthesiology and Critical Care. We also have esteemed MALA President Dr. Emilorna E. Delgado and galaxy of other resource persons such as Dr. Ma Linde Masalento, Chief Librarian UPH Library Philippines, Dr. Shantanu Ganguly, Chief Librarian AIIMS New Delhi, Ms. Alma Mila Prospero, Advisor Malap, Mr. Dejal Aristolo Lungustan, Chief Librarian World City College Philippines, Mr. Jahangir Khan, Librarian Grade 1, AIIMS New Delhi, Mr. Prashant Srivastav, Librarian Grade 1, AIIMS New Delhi. The session will be moderated by Ms. Neetu Priya, Librarian Grade 3. There are few basic housekeepings during the webinar. Please don't unmute yourself during the session. Please don't put on your video to save the bandwidth. Please don't share your screen. If you have any questions, please write in the chat box. Thank you so much for your patience, listening, and join us. Over to Ms. Neetu Priya.
Thank you, Deepak sir. To start with the 2015. Dr. B.C. Roy Award for Eminent Medical Person, Himachal Gaurav Puraskar, and recently Times Healthcare Achievers Award in the Legends category, Doctors of the Decade Award by Indian Medical Association, and many more. He has more than 450 publications, 49 chapters, 50 research grants, and more than 300 invited lectures. He is the personal physician of many national and international dignitaries. He is actively involved in COVID-19 management at AIIMS New Delhi as a director and also member of Joint Task Force for Government COVID-19. It's my privilege to invite Dr. Randeep Guleria for his prestigious presidential address.
Good morning. Professor S. Rajeshwari, Head of the Department of Anesthesiology and Critical Care and Professor in charge of the B.B. Dikshit Library. Ms. Emilorna E. Delgado, President, Medical and Health Library Association of the Philippines. Dr. Shantanu Ganguly, Chief Librarian, B.B. Dikshit Library. Other dignitaries who are taking part in this webinar, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me congratulate the B.B. Dikshit Library and the MAH LAP for organizing this very important webinar on Digital Health Connect 2021 Health Knowledge Discovery Services. In this era, this is something which is very important. I'm also very happy and delighted that this is being held on the 12th of August 2021, which is the National Librarians Day, celebrating the birth anniversary, the 129th birth anniversary of Shri S.S. Ranganathan, who was a librarian and mathematician and was renowned across the world for his various contributions in the field of mathematics and library sciences, especially the 5 laws of library sciences. A lot has changed since what libraries were in traditional times. And as science has evolved, as things have changed, libraries have also changed and will continue to change. The one constant thing in life today is that we are changing. The COVID has taught us that we have to change even more rapidly than what we were doing before. And we have gone through a number of revolutions as far as mankind is concerned. We had our agriculture revolution, we had the industrial revolution, the technological revolution, which has led on now to the digital revolution. And as this revolution has happened, the digital age has actually come into various fields of science, including medicine, and has actually changed the whole scenario as far as medical science is concerned. And therefore, healthcare has changed dramatically. From the time when knowledge was something that you had to go and search for in the library, go through journals, go through books, try and search for various references, all that has changed because of this digital revolution. Everything is now available on your smartphone, actually at the palm of your hand. And what has become more important is to have the right knowledge at the right time. And that is very important because that ultimately is able to benefit patient care and provide quality care which can at times be life-saving. As we've seen in the last 1.5 years, science evolved very rapidly, and there was a need for clinicians, scientists to stay in touch with what is happening. We started off when the pandemic began with looking at drugs which were being used in the past, anti-HIV drugs, retinovir, lopinavir, hydroxychloroquine, various other drugs. But as things evolved, because of the digital revolution, we were able to understand what was happening in different parts of the world, and our treatment strategies evolved. We had studies which came in uh, from the UK which showed that steroids were very helpful, and they were useful in people with moderate to severe disease. The trials which came quickly, overnight they changed the treatment strategy. That was the power of digital technology in being able to disseminate knowledge and make it useful for patients. So steroids became standard of care. And then of course there was the whole issue that people went overboard and started misusing steroids. Similarly, drugs like remdesivir, trials started coming in, data started emerging, meta-analysis happened, and based on that people were able to understand how this could save lives and how this was important. So this is something that has really been very, very useful. But things are changing. There was a time when one looked at the digital revolution as something which really helped you to get information immediately. You did not have to go to the library. You could sit on your desktop or your laptop and search for something that you wanted and immediately get it. But now the demands from healthcare professionals is changing, and the digital technology is also feeding that, and therefore one will have to evolve as far as that is concerned. People would now want that the digital technology is able to provide you information which you can reorganize, which you can manage and be able to filter so that it is your need specific, and thereby provide you knowledge which is useful to you from your patient point of view rather than more generic. Initially you would find an article and you would download those articles, but now you want that this information should not only be updated, it should be specific for you. It should basically be just for me, just for you, and that is also something which digital platforms are offering. This is what is happening as far as the internet and the new generation of internet is concerned, and therefore one will have to evolve with that, because that is the demand that the current technology is having, and the demand that the users are asking for. And therefore one will have to look at the next generation internet tools, how they can be adapted into the library. So there is going to be, what I feel is a revolutionary change in how libraries are going to function, how they are going to be used, and how they can provide information in the health sector. And therefore not only the users, but the providers, the librarians will have to evolve and change. There was a time when librarians would be involved only in cataloging things, being able to tell you that these books are available in this sector or this part of the library, and this is available in that part. But that has all changed, and we will have to evolve, and that is why this webinar on Digital Health Connect is very, very important. Libraries will have to develop flexible space, literally virtual actually, where people can sit and connect, but will also be there virtually to be able to interact with each other and to be able to sort of get the knowledge they want also in that manner. There is also going to be a lot of virtual learning. Artificial intelligence is going to come into the library space in a big way. Can you look at AI and virtual learning by looking at various mechanisms of teaching? We look at simulations. Libraries will also start looking at such simulatory models, where teaching is not only textbook based or article based, but could be using 3D and becoming more and more simulated based in terms of what you want to see. So you want to see what happens to, let's say, the coronavirus, the spike protein, how does it enter the cell, how does it attached to the ACE2 receptors, rather than reading about it, you could see it virtually happening in the library. And that would be a better way of learning and getting a knowledge. So those are things which will happen and evolve. You want to see how do the antivirals act against the virus in the cell, how do they prevent viral replication. It could be done in a virtual mode. And that will also be something that libraries will have to provide. So, in my mind, the future librarians will have to be bolder, they'll have to be more savvy, they'll have to take part in the transformation that is happening in science today. And they will also have to take part in the research outflow of institutions. See how the research outflow of institutions can be supported, can be helped, and guide institutions to see how is their scholarly output, how are they behaving, what can they do to improve themselves, how can they use various metrics like the bibliometric metrics for impact assessment, or various other tools, so that not only science but research and growth of the institute is also driven by support from the library. So the whole concept of the library is going to change with digital health and digital technology coming in, not only in medicine but in the science of library. And therefore, this international webinar on health knowledge discovery, I think, is very, very important. You have sessions which are on establishing new normals for libraries. You have sessions on knowledge for healthcare, and basically trying to redefine libraries and looking at resource visualization. So I think there is a lot that this webinar is going to offer, but I hope there will be a lot of interactive sessions so that you can really discuss how you can provide better quality care, considering resources of each country, considering the needs of each country, and considering the pace that each country is evolving with. You have to keep pace with what is happening and what the users want, because you can't suddenly say we'll provide high end things if the user doesn't have that technology, or let's say the internet is not available in that area. So you will have to really evolve with that. But I'm sure that this will be something which will be very useful, and I wish you all the best, and I'm sure this will be a very fruitful session. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dikshit sir, for coming and motivating us on this webinar. Your presence means a lot to us, sir. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Here is a photographer.
Yeah, well, Susan, can you just take Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
To continue the session.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
आप कंटिन्यू करो नो आप कंटिन्यू करो आई मैसेज
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
नेक्स्ट इनवाइट करो मैम का वीडियो
He is the esteemed director of All India Institute of Medical Sciences. In fact, when I went to fetch him from his department, so I saw that he is already surrounded by the patient because he's one of the this country. So he was going through some patients. So you can imagine he had a very busy schedule. He wants to stay with us, but I think his message was quite very clear and prominent for all of us that where we are heading to in our coming future and where we are leading and how our future vision should look at. So that's a very, very important message. Professor Randeep Guleria has our director, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, has given to all of us. I think thank you very much, Professor Guleria. And in fact, I was giving him a brief that we have a very good support from entire team of Malap. In fact, he has sent his gratitude and regards to Dr. Delago and Lagustan and Dr. Lindy and Alma Prosperos and everybody. And he said that it would have been great that if I could have met all of them personally, because since you are all are from the Philippines and he had been to Philippines also. So he was saying that. So it was a very interactive. I was discussing with on a lot of aspects and all. So over to Nitu.
Pediatrics, obstetrics, endocrines, low flow anesthesia, anesthesia and environmental stewardship. As a faculty in charge of Baby Dikshit Library, she has contributed in the conversion of print resources to electronic library, digitization of thesis, implementation of anti-plagiarism software, organized multiple workshops to maximize the use of library resources. She has more than 73 publications in international journals and 50 in national journals. She is the author of textbook, a primer of She is the author of textbook, A Primer of Anesthesia for Undergraduate Students. She has delivered more than 150 lectures in conferences. I invite Professor Rajeshwari for a special address on this event.
All the participants gathered here a very happy National Librarians Day. Today is Dr. S.R. Ranganathan's 129th birth anniversary. We remember with reverence and gratitude the contribution of Dr. Ranganathan, who started his career as a mathematician and was a faculty in Presidency College, Chennai, when he developed a keen interest in the development of libraries. He subsequently studied library science at King's College London and returned to revolutionize library structure, organization and function in the country and gave library science a new meaning and gave it its rightful place in the academic and intellectual realm. He was awarded the Padma Shri for his enormous contributions to library science in India in 1957 and was also awarded the very rare title of National Research Professor. Dr. Ranganathan had described the library as a living organism. This is the most profound statement. This organism, like any other living organism, is nourished by constant addition to its knowledge collection, and in turn it nourishes its readers with knowledge. To be able to ensure its healthy growth and maintenance, its structure, organization and functions should be constantly and frequently monitored, analyzed and upgraded, keeping in mind the contemporary and often diverse requirements of the readers. This is just akin to looking after a very valuable tree, watering it, providing clean environment and fertile soil, trimming off dead leaves and twigs when needed by knowledgeable and careful gardeners. After all, the library is indeed a plantation of trees of knowledge. Our libraries are gardeners of this plantation of knowledge. Now the trees are also changing very rapidly from being mere storehouses of leaves to becoming live centers of information, hence the change in nomenclature from library science to information science. There is a need to translate this enormous static knowledge database into user-based specific knowledge, and to adjust to this change, the present-day librarians are turning into clinical informationists. Over the last 7 years, the BB Dikshit library has seen an exponential growth in terms of journal subscription and usage. The library and intellectual support it provides nourishes the brains of the institution. It is no exaggeration to say that the tremendous lead AIIMS New Delhi enjoys in terms of research publications and academic excellence is in large part due to our library services. For this, I am indebted and grateful to our director, Professor Kuleria, who has lent unstinting support to all ventures in the library. However, for spearheading the activity which has finally restarted the rusting engines of the library and put it back on track, the credit is due to our two recent librarians, Dr. Shiva Chidambaram and presently Dr. Shantanu Ganguly. Dr. Ganguly, with his tremendous experience, expertise, and enthusiasm in the field, is constantly improvising, perfecting, motivating, and expanding the library as it stands, which surely assures a very bright future for the Dikshit Library. We are indeed fortunate that AIIMS library is being remodeled and rejuvenated not by a mere librarian, but one of the country's best clinical informationists. I am very proud of the entire library team who has worked very hard under the leadership of Dr. Ganguly. I wish the celebrations and today's deliberations of the library be a great success. Thank you.
I feel privileged to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Emilorna E. Delgado, President Mehlap. She is currently the college librarian in charge of the College of Arts and Sciences, University of Philippines, Manila. She finished her Master of Library and Information Science in UP Diliman in 2005 and is currently the president of Medical and Health Librarians Association of Philippines. She served as a resource person in many research workshops and conferences. I invite Ms. Emilorna E. Delgado to give her message on today's webinar.
Hello everyone. The Medical and Health Librarians Association of the Philippines is delighted to be part of this collaboration with the BB Dikshit Library of All India's Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi to bring you a webinar titled as Digital Health Connect Health Knowledge Discovery Services. The objective of the webinar is to enrich, encourage, and engage different stakeholders such as faculties, medical professionals, research scholars, and students across the globe. Hence, MALAF has decided to participate being the leading organization in the medical and health librarian sectors in the Philippines, with the end in view of promoting partnership and encouraging active participation of Filipino medical and health librarians in the global arena to share our views. And at the same time, learn and discover innovative means to revitalize our libraries that are being challenged by the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Finally, I would like to convey our sincerest thanks to the AIIMS for inviting MALAP and for giving our fellow Filipinos a chance to participate in this major event. Mabuhay!
Message. Our next speaker is Mr. Prashant Srivastav. He will speak on the topic resource visualization. He is presently working as librarian grade 1 in BB Dikshit Library, New Delhi. He has professional experience of 16 years of medical librarianship in AIIMS. His work profile consists of library resources development and overall resources subscription of BB Dikshit Library. During his career, he has performed in various important capacities for library. I invite Mr. Prashant Srivastav to give his presentation.
Good morning to all. Myself, Prashant Srivastav, librarian grade 1 from BB Dikshit Library, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, India. the theme of the webinar is Health Knowledge Discovery Services, and I will start my presentation with one of the resource visualization of AIIMS New Delhi Library. AIIMS Library have a vast collection of health knowledge resources. In this vast resource collection, we provide the various services, resources, and requirement and provide various knowledge services to the our reader to our readers. In this first series, there is a problem filled by the normally readers in this vast collection for the searching of the resources. At this point of service, we provide one of the solution, that is the discovery search, where all the resources are collected at one point, and readers simultaneously collect all the resources and all these collections as per their requirement, and it is available through our website. And this is the window for that particular discovery search collection and the search tool for AIIMS library. Now, as per the presidential address of our director, Dr. Goleria, the new requirement of the readers now this age in this digital revolution is required for this in self-learning mode, and also through the visualization of the 3D models and new latest technology. In this at this point, library provides some wonderful interactive tools. These tools helps our faculties, readers, and to their learnings and demonstrations to understand the techniques, tools, protocols, procedures with their own self-learning models. At this point, we provide the Acclaimed Video Atlas for Human Learning. These these videos provides provide complete picturization of the procedures, so that any user.
The pia and the arachnoid, we need to add the brain itself to the picture. We're looking at the right cerebral hemisphere. The blood vessels on its surface have been filled with red latex. The surface of the brain is rich.
These video tools and tools helps the readers and the faculties in their teaching modules, and these all videos supported by the audio support and also video transcript, where further these particular processes can discuss. Further, library provides one of the major collection of the interactive learning tool, that is the BMJ learning course. By this course, our general user and our researcher may develop their particular research questions through how they can define their particular research question for a particular health issue, and how they can utilize the developing these particular resources for the developing and writing protocols. Then choosing the best study design. What may be appropriate study design for your research? How to do ethical research, and how to write research paper. By this interactive learning course, users may develop their particular skill and track their learning pattern, and the essential various types of the other skills development courses are there. The essential of the running a clinical trial, picking the right journal and getting published, that is more challenging, and avoiding scientific misconduct. Further, in our resources we have various medical databases. A large collection of the medical databases provided by the BBDX library to their readers. In this connection, we have the databases related to point of care databases, research publication support databases, and health science databases. In this series, we have up to date and BMJ best practice for the point of care databases, and for the research publication support, we have Web of Science, BMJ case report, research to publication. Then for the particular discipline specific databases, we have Med1 neurosurgery, embase and those database. Further, library also have a vast collection of the e-books that the access provided to the our readers for the discipline specific or for the general disciplines. The leading collections for the JAMA Evidence, Oxford Medicine Online, Access Medicine, and OBD book collection. Other than the ebooks collection, library also have a large collection of the discipline specific printed books. Those can be physically accessed by our readers throughout in 24/7 environment. Further, library also have a large collection of the full text journals. Around 1470 full text journals available to the our readers, and we have the prizes all the leading publishers: Elsevier, Wiley, Springer, Lippincott, William Wilkinson, Taylor Francis, Sage, Oxford, AIIMS, and other leading publishers. Also, we have collection in our collection have the leading medical society journals. Those are the JAMA, BMJ, NEJM, NSM, NSN, and etc. And measure all the departments are covered in these journals. Further, library also support their researchers in the research support tool. Now, research life cycle in AIIMS is well supported by the research support tools by the BB Dikshit Library in AIIMS, New Delhi. And it will start by the first of the initiation of any research, that is the public problem identification support tool. At this point, library provides a very wonderful support of our ETD service. The ETD service provides complete collection of the earlier research on a particular topic and deep content discovery of those particular ETD collection, so that the researcher or the our doctors may identify what they are the exact that problem for what they want to do research. When we start the literature review and citation management training tools, library provides access for the Manley and note related tools and also their training. At the further research writing design and training tools, library provides a very good subscription of the research to publication tool. That tool is very supportive when you are starting your research, and how you can frame and design your research, how you can prepare your research writing for the publication or submission of a particular research publication or a project and proposal. Such type of the has provided by this complete research to publication tool. And when your research is completely prepared and you want to publish for submit your for the publication and for the any project, then there is a very major check at this point. We require the plagiarism check. At this point of service, library provides a leading anti-plagiarism tool, that is provide the best of the text similarity identification and originality tool, that is the authentication. By this complete collection of the research support tools, library provides a very good environment for the research life cycle in AIIMS New Delhi. Further, e-resources. Our e-resources of AIIMS library are available to our readers throughout the campus through IP authentication directly. And further, out of the campus, we are also connected to our readers through the remote access facility in 24/7 environment. There are also we have the some special type of the process for the library resource recommendations. Any bona fide user may recommend for the particular resource, and there is a certain type of the process adopted by the library to completely approve that particular resource for the subscription, and that user trials and financial approval, and finally library committee approves that particular subscription for the inclusion. Further, at the presidential address and the theme of this particular our international webinar is the health knowledge discovery services. Currently, medical librarianship provide the health knowledge resources information, but as per the suggestion and the direction focused by the our director Dr. Goleria in their presidential address, that now medical librarianship is not limited up to that particular resource discovery, we have to uplift ourselves and our skills and capabilities to provide that particular knowledge and information for the health related and for the health care in any region of the world where that particular information is providing, what is the format, where is the technology, and why, how that technology may be used for our readers. At this particular point, we have to uplift our knowledge to the clinical information specialist. And by this, I think I am trying to set the theme of this webinar further. Thank you. Over to you, Neetu. Neetu.
If anybody if anybody has any query, they can put their query on chat box. Thank you, Prashant sir, for very nice presentation. You have given a complete overview of our e-resource collection very nicely. Thanks a lot, sir. Now our next speaker is Dr. Malindi D. Mazzalinto. She will speak on the topic Revivify Medical Librarianship during Pandemic. Dr. Lindy is a librarian and a professor. Over the past 2 decades, she has worked in a variety of professional capacities, especially in the private academy. Dr. Lindy is affiliated with international and national organizations. She earned her Master of Education major in Library Science and graduated her Doctor of Philosophy major in Educational Management. Dr. Lindy is associated with many national and international organizations. Currently, she is the Vice President of International Library and Information Science Society, Philippines chapter. She has published articles to an international journal and presented several papers in an international journals. At present, she serves as the Chief Librarian of University of Perpetual Health, Dr. Jose G. Tamayo Medical University, where she is also an ISO 2015 internal auditor and a Philippines Association of Colleges and Universities Commission of Accreditation accreditor. Now I invite Dr. Lindy to give his presentation.
Pleasant day, everyone. It is my honor to be part of this significant event, the celebration of the birth anniversary of the father of library science in India, Dr. Ranganathan. Thank you, AIIMS Director, Professor Randeep Galaria, and AIIMS Chief Librarian, Dr. Shantani Ganguly, for inviting us. I am tasked to discuss this topic, Revivify Medical Librarianship during pandemic. Medical and health librarians have a key role to play in providing information that can help overcome the challenges that we are experiencing. So, here is the outline of my presentation. I have here the objectives, the introduction, digital online resources and services, challenges and issues, strategies, opportunities, competencies, and the final takeaway. In the context of the practices and activities of MALAP member libraries in the Philippines during COVID-19 pandemic, here are the objectives of my presentation. This webinar aims to introduce MALAP and its role, mission on the development of medical and health libraries in the Philippines, share how libraries provided digital online services during the pandemic, and present the challenges, innovations, strategies that libraries applied, and the lessons learned. So, Based on my objectives, here are some pertinent details about MALAP. MALAP is established in 1988 and registered as a non-stock nonprofit organization with the Philippine Securities and Exchange Commission in 1996. It is a specialized organization with member librarians and information providers from hospitals, medical libraries, and information resource centers. MALAP is governed by a board of trustees. This board of trustees shall be elected among the regular members of the association and serve for a term of 2 years until their successors have been elected and assured their duties. As to MALAP's role and mission, to encourage and promote the collection, organization, and dissemination of medical and health information and library services, to cultivate library cooperation, enhance the professional welfare of its members, to uphold dignity and ethics of medical and health libraries and librarians, to continue its commitment to support the building, fostering and professional growth of its members and stakeholders despite the current COVID-19 pandemic situation. These are MALAP member libraries that participated and contributed through their librarians by sharing their experiences, how to revive and liven up medical librarianship during pandemic. When the Philippine government announced the COVID-19 pandemic in the first quarter of 2020, this was immediately followed by closure of schools, colleges, and universities, which resulted to work from home setup and the implementation of DOH's IATF guidelines. Prior this pandemic, most librarians have historically relied on the collections and the use of building libraries to provide its work. With this, we acknowledge that things are going to change and we are obligated and urgency to shape the change. So, our print resources, services, and programs through face-to-face interaction, physical spaces for collaboration, was converted into electronic resources, online services and programs, virtual spaces for collaboration. These are the online resources commonly used by the participating libraries in reaching and serving their library clientele. So we have the Clinical Key, Up-to-Date, TNF Medical Library Collections, the Lectorio, Labster, Micromedics, Sinal Complete, ProQuest, Access Medicine. We had also the podcast here and the open educational resources. As for the online services, in this time of pandemics, librarians was able to strengthen their document delivery services. They offered online reference services through chat, email, Facebook, and library websites. Online reservation and book borrowing, book drop for book returns were provided. Different communication apps were also utilized to strengthen the communication. Remote access to electronic resources. Plagiarism check for research support, specifically Turnitin. And then some libraries had this online clearance signing. As for the issues and challenges, first, we have the work from home setup. Not all librarians have computer or gadget to use in serving their clients or to continue library tasks at home. Also, limited ebooks. The issue on limited ebooks was also noted, especially on Filipiniana and general education books. There are authors who declined librarians' requests for scanning of books. Since not all books were registered with Copyright Clearance Center or CCC, there is a need to contact publishers, authors directly for copyright permission. Of course, we have to observe the fair use policy. There are database subscriptions also that are on-campus access only. Then, based on DOH and IATF guidelines, it limits the number of employees to go at work. So there are librarians that were deployed as information knowledge manager per program. So it is really a challenge on their part. Next is the digital divide. No stable connectivity and limited IT skills of librarians that would support continuous deliverance of their library services. And the last one is limited knowledge on the legal implications of lending or sharing digital resources that somehow impede librarians to share these resources. For librarians to be able to reach and continue providing services to their clientele, they should have the skills and imagination to create new things. So, they have this: remote access to all online resources, strengthen communication line to all library clientele. There is a need for upscaling librarians, establishment of institutional repository, integration of electronic resources in all learning management systems, continuous online user education program, and online research support to faculty and students. As for the opportunities and support, these participating libraries and librarians had this. They were able to acquire additional subscription for e-resources, empower the library staff to manage the content of the OPAC. There is a budget increase and realignment in order to acquire additional subscription of e-resources and use library resource portal and LMS. As for the competencies needed, in order to overcome challenges and to do something successfully, librarians should have this: creativity and innovation, digital literacy, marketing, collaboration, flexibility, IT capability for librarians and library staff, and managing information organizations. Before my final takeaway, I would like to acknowledge my contributors in making this presentation possible. We have here Maria Juliana Gismin, Nympha Castro, Melanie Solitario, Maricel Paya, Himilin Baco, Melanie Dueñas, Luz Broca, Janet Borillo, and Manuela Rosero. So for my final takeaway, technology is important in transitioning library services and programs to the new normal. Leverage on it. There are strategies and opportunities to overcome issues during pandemic, and competences are needed to thrive in rendering online resources and services. So here is our email address for questions, clarifications, you can send us this. So thank you so much and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Lindy, for very nice presentation. Our next speaker is Dr. Shantanu Ganguly. He will speak on the topic SDG 3.0 Knowledge for Healthcare. Dr. Shantanu Ganguly is Chief Librarian of AIIMS New Delhi. He is a great orator, result oriented professional, having exceptional intellectual capabilities with over 28 years of experience in knowledge management, capability management, building project management, reporting and documentation, change management, resource management, and much more. I invite Dr. Shantanu Ganguly to give his presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Nitu, for the kind introduction. Before I start this presentation, at the outset, let me take this opportunity to thank All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, for for making this particular international webinar happen. The reason being that this is one of the best webinar which we are having. In the past, we had a very good webinar with National Health Research Council of Nepal. Then it was started with a very interesting international webinar series with US, where Professor Nalini Mahajan was one of the speaker. And so we started this webinar series every month. We are trying to keep the pace, but we had a lot of work to do. My team are already engaged and they are always handful with their assignments, but still they try to squeeze out as much time as possible to organize such a interesting events and all. One of the important thing which I am going to discuss today, and rightly I find that Professor Randeep Guleria, our director, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, has already set the ball rolling. In fact, when I look at the presentation by Dr. Dilago, then Dr. Lindy, then my colleague Mr. Prashant and all, I think they have covered mostly as far as the thematic aspects of this particular conference is concerned, that is Digital Health Connect. They have shown that how digitally the health is getting connected, how the knowledge is getting more and more accommodated on that. People are looking into that particular aspect. And then the health knowledge discovery, they have shown that what are the various, in fact, from the presentation of Mr. Prashant and Dr. Lindy, you can make out that we have a vast amount of resources are already available at our disposal, and for the disposal of the entire community of our research fraternity, our doctors fraternity, our health sector fraternity, and everybody it is available. But the classical part is that, as Professor Randeep Guleria mentioned, how to find out the right knowledge for the right person at the right time. That is the motto. And that how technology is going to play a pragmatic role in this field. That is where we are going to look at it in coming years, and that is where the clinical information scientist, the knowledge specialist, as Lindy, Prashant, they all mentioned, I think they have to play a very, very pragmatic role in this area. I'll touch upon a very interesting area, and in fact, this is an area where constantly very near to my heart. I was going through a lot of research work on the Sustainable Development Goals, where I am right now trying to look at it, the SDG 3.0, that is knowledge for health. What I will cover in my discussion is health information for all, revisiting the Ranganathan's law. I'll show you that in health context that how Dr. Ranganathan's law is so inevitable in current context. What is the Sustainable Development Goals? What do you mean by that? What is open science, knowledge access and data, and how open knowledge is important in context to the Sustainable Development Goals? See, health information for all is a global social movement to improve the availability and the use of reliable healthcare information and reduce the harms of misinformation. In fact, HIFA is a very big project, is already online, and people have joined in a very good scale. There is, and I'm sure all of you should visit to the platform of HIFA, and you will find that HIFA is playing a very, very pragmatic role in today's context. Libraries and information service have a very critical role to increase the availability and use of healthcare information. Researchers, policymakers, health professionals, and citizens all need access to actionable informations relevant to their context and in a language they can understand to protect their own health and the health of others. One of the things I just want to highlight on this particular area, and which is a very, very important pragmatic area to touch upon, is when I'm talking about language. See, there are n number of languages in several countries. Say, for example, in India, we have so many languages are there. How do we reach out to with the information, with the knowledge to the unreached? See, everybody cannot understand the English language. So where are those languages? How do we convert our health knowledge into the language on which they can understand? And that is where the NLP, the natural language processing model, is going to play a very pragmatic role. In fact, today morning, the most classical part is that when I was sending out the message for National Librarians Day message, one of the classical thing I could make out is that like Google is giving me a complete translation form. I write down an entire text documents, and the entire text document gets converted into Hindi language or the language what I want. But only thing which you have to be very careful is to find out the appropriateness, or you have to find out the granularity, you have to find out the relevancy, you have to find out what you are trying to mean. Sometimes it happens that it takes into a different sector. It should not do that. So you need to read out that when it gets translated also. Healthcare information, when I look at today, it is basically evaluating the impact of the healthcare information activities. You have organizations, services, products, publication is all there. What is most important is to identify what works and what doesn't in different context. Enable providers and users of healthcare information to continually improve their effectiveness and to persuade funders, the governments and others to invest in the future healthcare information activities. This is a HIFA project on library and information service. I would urge all my esteemed participants to go through the project. Is to leverage the individual and the connective HIFA membership to support communication, understanding and advocacy for library and information services as they relate to global public health and evidence-informed decision making by health professionals, citizens and policymakers. The project's focus includes global health, population health, disaster preparedness, emergencies and disease outbreaks. And one of the important scope, if you look at some of the pragmatic areas they are touching upon on the scope are the role of the library and information service with context to the public and health medical libraries, the physical and the digital, technical and financial support for the library and information service, professional skills and development of librarians and information professionals, knowledge management, health literacy, a critical appraisal and the related skill for both providers and the users of information. If I look at today on the redefine the role of the Ranganathan today, and if I take only the 4 laws, in fact I have taken it from a very interesting report which was published by OCLC on rediscovering Ranganathan's law. The four laws which are very important one. The fifth one is the library is a growing organism. Everybody knows about it. But they had touched upon the four laws. Books are for use. Every person his or her book. Every book its reader. Save the time of the reader. But in the current digital content, look at it. E-books are for reading. Netflix is for watching. And Blackboard is for studying. Every listener her iTunes. In fact, today one can customize his own iTunes also. Every artist his Photoshop. Every student her Easy Beep. Every blog its reader. Every Google Map has its traveler. And every digital repository its researcher. But the important thing is save the time of the listener. Save the time of the traveler. Save the time of the researchers. So it is, once again, it is not just revisiting the Ranganathan. In the other context, there are another 5 laws came out, and it was a very interesting 5 laws where looked at the media and information literacy in context to the 5 laws. But what it is trying to enhance here, recognize, it was given by the UNESCO, recognize the need for information and determines the nature and extent of the information needed. Find needed information effectively and efficiently. Critically evaluate the information and the information seeking process. Manage the information collected or generated. Apply prior and new information to construct new concepts or create new understandings. And use the information with understanding and acknowledge the culture, ethical, economic, legal, and social issues surrounding the use of information. Well, this particular, especially for this particular webinar, when I was looking at the 5 laws of library science, I conceptualized healthcare information and literacy taking the cue from the Ranganathan's law. And this is completely, I have made it of my own. Healthcare information and literacy is for every citizen to use. Every citizen should have his or her basic healthcare information and literacy. Every basic healthcare information and literacy is accessible to every citizen. Save the time of the citizen for healthcare information and make them literate. Healthcare information and literacy is growing at geometric scale. So I can easily use the application of healthcare information literacy with the 5 laws of library science. So 5 laws of library science as enunciated by Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, how much relevant in today's every context, we need to understand that. So now I'll get into the 17 goals which are formulated in 2015 by UNESCO. And these goals are, and they are looking towards a future of 2030. And all backed up by 169 detailed targets. They have negotiated over a 2-year period at the United Nations before formulating in 2015 and agreed to by nearly all the world's nations on the 25th September 2015 it was done and given to the entire world a new history. So what is the new and different about 17 SDGs? First, it is universality. Every nation, the goals applies to every nation and every sector. Whether you are in cities, business, school, organizations, all are churned to. It's universality. The second is your integration. We cannot achieve just one goal. And I'll show you the kind of connectivity is there. If you touch one particular goal out of 17 goals, the other goal gets affected. The second is the enormous amount of transformation that is taking place. The fundamental changes how we live on earth, and this is called where we are looking at. And One of the important component is the goal number 1 is end poverty in all its forms everywhere. Second, end the hunger, achieve food security, and improve the nutrition and promote the sustainable agriculture. The third one is ensure the healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages, and that is what we are going to look at today. The fourth one, ensure inclusive and quality educations for all and promote lifelong learning. The fifth, achieve the gender equality and empower the women and the girls for their education. Ensure access to water and sanitation for all, which is also once again reflects on the health aspects of it. In fact, there are several leading projects I have done in the field of WASH, where you talk about the water, the sanitation, and the health. The different projects on WASH. See, ensure access to affordable and reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. We have to look, because energy is a very, very important area. And people are looking into some of the clean energy clean energy areas also. Promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment, and decent work for all. Build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Reduce inequality within and among the countries. Make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Ensure the sustainable consumption and production patterns. The 13 is take urgent action to look at the different aspects of the climate change and its impact, and especially how the melting of the glacier taking place in Antarctica. To conserve and sustainably use the ocean, the seas, and the marine the biodiversity which is there in the marine life. And the 15th is your sustainably manage forest, combat desertification, halt and reverse land degradation, halt biodiversity loss. The 16th was the promote just, peaceful, and inclusive societies. And the 17th is revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. So these are some of the 17 sustainable goals which were defined by the United Nations. Now these are 17 sustainable goals, when each goal is an important aspect out of it. And if I touch one particular goal, you can see the connectivity with others. One goal gets connected with others. There is a very interesting side where you have the 4 important case studies. And currently, the IT is playing a very important role. And I would urge everybody to go through the site of ITU, that it will show you a person like Adama is reaping the harvest with the real-time agricultural data. Naki has become a babysitter with the help of the kind of research and data which she is having. Or currently, if I look at the education sector, even at the rural sector, with the help of an Android mobile, John can access 30,000 books. And you can imagine what Professor Randeep Guleria is saying, and you can connect the threads with that. And that is what he was trying to say. How do we connect the dots here? That's very important for all of us to understand. One of the important component I was working on, that is on smart village. We need to look at these areas. We have to reach out to them. It is very, very important for all of us. In fact, some of the projects I was trying to do on these particular sectors. So let me touch upon quickly on the open knowledge when I've touched upon. It's basically, there are, in a Venn diagram, if I look at, it is just an integration of 3 major aspects today. Open science, open data, and open access. Why? Because there is only one mantra. Research of the people, research by the people, and research for the people. And if I touch upon one particular sustainable development goals, and it gets other goals gets affected. The other goals get affected, and each and every goal is sustaining here. So we need to bridge the gap. If there is a funding organization today, they're giving a fund for the research work. What they're asking that between the stakeholders, we need to bridge the gap. And so we need, that's what sir was saying, Director sir, that research impact has to be measured. There is a very interesting project. In fact, in one of my last international conference, I was a part of it, where it was Project Digital Green. And it was started by a very young man called Dr. Rikin Gandhi. Rikin was doing, see, with the help of a digital camera, he was capturing the best practices of one agriculture sector from a rural community, and that best practices can easily be replicated in other areas. That is what it was talking about. A very interesting concept which was started by open innovation is none other than by Henry Chesbrough. Henry Chesbrough says open innovation is moving beyond single collaboration between individual organizations to the networks and the ecosystems of organizations, often collaborating through the different types of platforms. In fact, we are networking and doing the platforms here, and we are making a collaboration out of it. So the entire definition, open knowledge definition, is the open crystallized into OKD means to use, which can be reused, it can be redistributed. That's a very important thing to understand. And the requirement for attribution and share alike. It also emphasizes the importance of usability and access to the entire data sets or the knowledge work. The guidelines for the Open Knowledge Foundation or OKD is choose your data set. What can you make it open? That is the people who will be accessing and using the data, as they are likely to have a good understanding of which data could be valuable. Apply an open license. Determine what IP exists and apply a suitable license like CC BY, the Creative Commons. Make the data available. Provide a suitable format which easily it can have an interoperability. Make it discoverable. There are lots of standards that can be used. One of them is Parthenos. And use an appropriate file formats for that, which can be used in a long term, but which is not non-proprietary formats, because it can be reused and it can be sustainable. It can be used by any time, anywhere, by any person. That kind of format we should look into. When I talk about open research, it is on reproducibility. Some of the very interesting projects which are already started by very leading publishers like Nature, Proceeding of National Academy of Sciences, PLOS and Science and etc., where open research approach contributes to overcome low reproducibility by making science more reproducible. Increase the quality and impact, where sharing the research work is a great incentive to ensure that high quality work, as it exposes results to open scrutiny and allows third parties to verify and validate the conclusions. Transparency and rigorous evaluation is required. There should be a rigorous peer review model available into that. Indisputable evidence, intellectual and ethical rigor is required, and credibility in and within the scientific community, because it helps in identify the errors while promoting multifaceted perspectives in terms of ethical misconduct. It acts as a deterrent for scientific fraud also. Open science is a research carried out and disseminated and deployed and transformed by digital tools, networks and media. Open science is a very big umbrella today. It is the creation and dissemination of open knowledge, where I talk about open science, open data, and your open access. Open science embodies what? It is the open research, open access, open science data, open notebook science, open standards offered unfettered dissemination of research outputs in the digital age. So the critical factors of open science is accessibility to scientific progress and knowledge, understanding the scientific impact, make research and knowledge sharing more efficient. That's going to be the core of it. What is open data? I'm sure many of you must be knowing. I'm not going in detail, but open data is the research data that is freely available on the internet for anyone to download, modify, and distribute without any legal or financial restrictions. It is available, it is accessible, it is reusable, it is redistributable, and it is unrestricted. Why it is important? Because it increases the reproducibility of research, promotes the future research growth, supports research integrity, prevents duplication and loss of research, and provides opportunities for collaboration, strengthens the economy. What kind of open data? It could be a cultured data, it could be finance data, it could be statistical data, it could be weather data, it could be environment data. Any data could be an open data. But one of the challenges which I've discovered, and in fact in many of the research papers what they have covered, is labeling. Labeling of data ensure that the researchers are well acknowledged. Licensing, that is the data on the publisher's website in data repository, should be clearly defined as available for free or unrestricted access. Or the research ethics restrictions. One must consider the safeguarding of information, obtaining the consent and the secondary use of identifiable information. There is a very important, as far as the sustainable goal is concerned, a very innovative platform came up, which is called linked SDGs, where the standard-based data exchange build a common framework and guidelines to improve the visibility, the interoperability, and the citizen science data on SDGs. And it is basically focused on the different aspects of the SDGs. It has a state-of-the-art modeling techniques in it, where it looks into the goals, the targets, the indicators, and the related statistical series which are there. All the stakeholders and the public with open source tools to make this data interoperable for easier data integration, analysis, and monitoring. This is an example of the linked SDGs. If I look for one particular infectious disease, suppose that I can easily get what are the important areas, say for example malaria, what are the areas it can cover, and the size of the bubble tells you what is the resource content or the data content in that one particular cluster. What are the areas, the coverage, the scope it has covered in one particular one. I request everybody to please to have a look at it. It's a very, very interesting area. The same with the kind of that is what we are talking about. Tools are available. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. That's what I'm saying. Even on a target basis, on an indicator, like for example, if I look at only the healthcare sector, since I'm talking about the healthcare and I'm representing the healthcare, so if I see the SDG 3, if I see what is the kind of data in 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, all the indicator sectors, I can see that on different indicators how much data has been covered on that. And the tool is available on there. Only thing is that you have to identify. Another important area, in fact, currently I am also getting into slowly on those areas, is basically a data storytelling. Most important thing is, see, for researchers, for different types of stakeholders, all data is not necessary. How do we make it customized for them? So one of the important thing is, look at the data, give it the highlights what it is. In fact, some of the story highlights what they have done, written in just 4 bullet points or 3 bullet points, along with a link to the case study. It gives a clear indication what particular this data talks about. It is already highlighting on those areas, and it has enumerated and articulated in a very, very classical way in that. So the new roles of health knowledge specialist, where my colleague Prashant has already talked about, Professor Randeep Guleria talked about, Dr. Lindy talked about, Delrago talked about, that search for evidence and good practice innovation, undertake literature searches, prepare evidence reviews, like he was talking about remdesivir, the medicine, how the meta-analysis has taken place. Sorry, the meta. So give me just 1 minute. So then offer the respond to inquiries and the requests for the information, offer horizon scanning evidence updates, promote and manage the digital knowledge resources, manage the print collections, foster a learning organization, advise, offer information consultancy, training on skills for sharing and good practice, develop the knowledge assets based on lessons learned, and maintain the repositories and intranet resources, training in information skills, research, health literacy, digital skills, enable the staff to learning. So the important thing, if I look at this pyramid model, is a kind of a temple. If you want to maximize the value, the right resources is required to ensure that knowledge services have the right resources to offer the right services. That's why we get into the due diligence. The gift of time, the right team with the right roles. Services with more knowledge specialists, work with more teams, releasing more time for care, having a greater impact. And one of the the platform is where everything will stand is right services. Knowledge services built on the principles of equality, diversity, and inclusiveness. So this is it's a very important framework which I came across. I thought, let me share with all of you on that. So just before conclusion, I would like to say, revisit the open knowledge and sustainable development goals. What I have discussed today, it is nothing but a tip of the iceberg, but there are a lot of things. So you can plan, you can collect, you can analyze, you can share, you can disseminate, you can change, you can theorize. And it gives an entire thing on the open knowledge as it has shown. So thank you very much. Thank you for your patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Your lecture is always very informative for all of us. Very nicely, you have connected 5 laws of library science with the healthcare sector. Thanks a lot, sir. Our next speaker is Miss Alma Myla D. Prosperaso. Her topic is establishing the new normal for libraries. She has more than 25 years of experience as a librarian for special libraries. She graduated with a degree of education, major in library science. She further pursued educational and training by attending lectures and workshops of librarianship, publishing, editing, project management, etc. She is affiliated with many local and international organizations such as MALAP, ASLP, PLAI, etc. Since 2008, she held various positions in MALAP as a member of board directors, vice president, advisor, and as a president in 2009. In 2020, she was appointed as advisor to the incumbent MALAP Board of Trustees. I invite Ms. Alma to give his presentation.
Good morning, good afternoon to all participants of this webinar. My name is Alma Prosperaso, and I am part of the Medical and Health Librarians Association of the Philippines as one of its advisors. My presentation on establishing the new normal for libraries is a supplementary to a previous presentation delivered by Dr. Lindy Masanito on how the librarians in the Philippines have revivified medical librarianship during the pandemic. I think it is a common question among librarians and libraries not only in the Philippines but globally on how we should move forward with the concept of new normal. Before I proceed with my presentation, I would like to
इसके
state
बाद
a
ना क्वेश्चन
disclaimer
आंसर
that
स्टार्ट होगा,
contents of this
ठीक है?
presentation
तो यहाँ ही क्वेश्चन
are
आंसर
based on
ओपन
my
कर देना
personal
चैट बॉक्स में,
research and
आई विल
experiences
मॉडरेट.
and do not reflect or represent the view of my employer or organization to which I am employed. The objectives of this presentation are as follows. Perceptions of librarians, libraries to a new normal, libraries in the digital age, from the new normal to a new future. How do we differentiate old normal from new normal? Is there really a difference? Old normal is regarded as the previous practice, while new normal can be downgrade or an upgrade of the past practice. The new normal becomes the current or the present situational practice. When the world was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic in early 2020, tremendous changes have affected not only the people globally, but as well as businesses and organizations, including libraries and information centers. The pandemic challenged and continue to challenge the relevance of and survival of libraries. So frequently asked questions are, how should we deliver services? What will happen to our library clientele? What will happen to the library facility? Are libraries still relevant during this time? How long should we keep up to the changes brought about by the pandemic? When will it end? And many more unanswered questions. I would like to present an intervention to the present situation. We must think that these are challenging times. Our work habits and policies have changed since last year because of the goal to restrict movement globally to prevent the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Libraries enforce strict policies on the following protocols such as social distancing, wearing of masks. In the Philippines, we even must wear a face shield and to encourage proper hand washing or the use of alcohol or antibacterial gel to prevent the spread of infection. Many libraries remain closed. Why? Because some are having difficulty complying to standard health protocols that must be applied to library clientele, facilities, and services. Non-compliance to these health protocols may have government sanctions and will contribute to the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Therefore, on-site library services such as borrowing of books, consultations with librarians were suspended until further notice. So the challenge of having accessible new normal in libraries have become debatable. In the Philippines and in other countries as well, there is a question if it can be done or how should it be done. Now, let's go back to the frequently asked questions. These are some of the possible answers in these questions. How should we deliver services? Virtual, online, on-site? We should consider the absence of personal interaction. What will happen to our library clientele? Communication by telephone, mobile, or communication via online services using social media accounts, online chats, WhatsApp, Viber, Facebook Messengers as an example. What will happen to the library facility? It is closed until reopened to follow health protocols. Safety tips should be considered. And for example, in the Philippines, there is a government regulation facilitated by the Commission on Higher Education or CHED and the Department of Health Joint Circular Memorandum 2020-001. The subject of this joint memorandum guidelines on the gradual reopening of the campuses of higher education institutions or HEIs for limited face-to-face classroom during the COVID-19 pandemic. There are statements in the memorandum that particularly is directed to the compliance of libraries to be found in pages 12 and 14 of that document. An example, for occupancy capacity, redesign the layout of the library to ensure that physical distancing of at least 1.5 meters is strictly observed. For library services, students, faculty, and staff shall wash or sanitize their hands before entering the library facility. For purpose of facilitating contract tracing, the names, time in, and time out of students, faculty, and staff should be recorded. Tables and chairs shall be marked to inform the students, faculty, and staff where to sit and not to sit. Physical distancing of at least 1.5 meters shall be strictly observed inside the library. Silence or no talking policy shall be strictly observed inside the library. And the higher education institution should determine the maximum timing limit of a student, faculty, or staff that can stay inside the library and the number of times he or she can enter the library per day. If books, journals, library materials are borrowed and brought home or taken outside library facilities, there shall be a dedicated drop box for the return. These books shall be properly cleaned, sanitized, disinfected before they are again included for circulation. Commonly shared computer units shall be cleaned and disinfected before and after use. And the higher education institution shall encourage your students, faculty, and staff to use online library services instead of physically going to the library. The SHII should also promote the Philippine Shed Connect for free access of instructional and learning resources and materials. So the question is, are libraries still relevant during this time? Yes, because the role of libraries are as reliable sources of information and as disseminators of information are unique and vital during the pandemic. So how long should we keep up with the changes brought about by this pandemic? As long as libraries are relevant and needed. When will it end? No one knows. That is why libraries must continue to do its purpose for which it is created. Well, for libraries in the digital age, I believe that the digital environment and the new normal provided libraries with the capability to be adaptable to change, emerging, institutionalized, reachable, and visible. For libraries that have already adapted in the digital age, the use of infographics in libraries is a very effective tool for information dissemination. Some Philippine libraries have already set up new normal guidelines and disseminated to the library clientele for protocol and guidance through their library webpage and social media accounts. As an example, you can see on your screen the infographic of the libraries of the University of the Philippines, Manila and World City College. So from the new normal to a new future, we are now in the new normal. The old normal, whether we like it or not, may no longer be there or may not come back. So in order to move forward, libraries must consider how to adapt to a new future. So some tips to evaluate your library services. Adaptation is the key. Explore it. Introduce other modalities for learning and access to your library resources via trainings, webinars, chat rooms, use of a help desk, etc. Consider investing on digital platforms. Strengthen your digital literacy program. Update and strengthen your internet connection and hardware resources. You should have screens for online training to improve the library networking, and online training capacity. Review your library service model. Improve or recreate one. Explore the possibility of becoming a librarian 2.0. Look into the possibility of establishing your institutional repositories if you don't have one yet. Be vigilant and the source of right information. There is an infodemic of wrong information that is spreading around the world. Libraries can do their share to help prevent it. So the present primary objective is actually to avoid the transmission of the COVID-19 virus and to save lives. To keep everyone from contacting the virus, various health protocols and regulations are implemented by governments of countries all over the world in order to protect the well-being of its population. Whether you work for an academic, public, special library, your contribution, small or big, to your community and country is important and immeasurable. Libraries are information mediums and can contribute to a safer, healthier world. So I would like to end my presentation by sharing with you this slide with a link to the blog, Love Letter to My Library, Love in the Time of COVID-19. So this was posted in the website of the Pima County Public Library in Tucson, Arizona, USA. Some of the messages expressed by library users are librarians as essential workers, libraries, and librarians are lifeblood, libraries uplift humanity. On behalf of the Medical and Health Librarians Association of the Philippines, it has been a pleasure sharing with you all my research, readings, and experiences as a Filipino librarian. am one with you all in promoting the value of the work of libraries and the library profession. Thank you and a pleasant day to everyone. So these are just some of the researches that I have used for this presentation, the references, and you can contact me at albapross@gmail.com if you have some questions or further questions about this presentation. So thank you everyone.
These in this new normal world. Now our next speaker is Mr. Denzelo Orestelo T. Legostan. Currently, Mr. Legostan is the Chief Librarian of World City Colleges in Quezon City as its mother campus. He is a member of many library organizations and associations: Philippines Librarian Association of Philippines, Philippines Association of Academic Research Librarians, treasurer of Aurora Boulevard Consortium Libraries, and incumbent vice president of the Medical Health Librarians Association of the Philippines. Mr. Legustan holds a bachelor's degree in secondary education, major in library science, and a master of education in library science. I request Mr. Legustan to give message of thanks.
Participants from the Philippines, India, and across the globe, good morning. It is with great pleasure and honor that the Medical and Health Librarians Association of the Philippines is part of this momentous collaboration with All Indian Institute of Medical Science. Accepting the invitation to this webinar was never a second thought for us. Our appreciation to Ms. Shirley Cruz, colleague from the Commission of Appointment and ASPLP. Thank you very much, ma'am, for making this possible. Now, looking at the objectives and the immense outcomes of sharing knowledge and expertise of medical librarianship profession were the significant vision of MALAP. Even before this global phenomenon that brought about the COVID-19 pandemic, MALAP has been striving to conduct conferences, seminars, and series of lectures on the current trends that are imperative and that need to be disseminated among our colleagues in the Philippines, thus making it global in scope, such as this international webinar initiative of AIIMS. It is now reaching more individuals capable of bridging many gaps, connecting limitless boundaries, and forging stronger connections. This timely and relevant webinar provided us with comprehensive and data-driven solution to the pressing problem faced in healthcare library services. It is also connect us with our core goals of continuous improvements through innovative transformation, dismantling and taking over the challenges of the digital revolution. We have proved to ourselves that this free-flowing exchange of ideas, we can connect, collaborate, communicate regardless of our ethnicity, race, social group, and personal backgrounds. So in behalf of the MALAP officers and Board of Trustees, we would like to extend our profound gratitude to AIIMS Director, Professor Randit Gularia, and AIIMS Chief Librarian, Dr. Shantanu Ganguli, and his hardworking team that spearheaded this webinar. We commend all the speakers who have shared their current, feasible, and adaptable knowledge and expertise. These are the takeaways that all the participants will ponder on as we continuously face the changes in our new normal setting. This collaboration of AIIMS and MALAP achieved its purpose, which is to enrich, to encourage, and to engage. We would like to believe that this event will commence more collaboration with AIIMS and MALAP in the future to encourage more medical librarians to follow the growing trend of digital transformation in the profession. Thank you to all the MALAP members for your active involvement with our request to share your experiences and best practices in the new normal. It has become a way for others to observe valuable services that they may adapt to their respective institution as well. To all the participants who are graciously present virtually, we appreciate you taking time to be part of this endeavor. We hope that what we have given will ignite your passion and disseminate that what you have learned by paying it forward. Let us continue our quest for truthful medical information as we are also in danger of being penetrated and fed with lies by epistemic trespassers. A quality healthcare delivery and services can only be achieved when we serve with truth, with justice, and transparency. I want to leave this quote to everyone. Sharing knowledge is not about giving people something or getting something from them. This is only valid for information sharing. Sharing knowledge occurs when people are genuinely interested in helping others develop new capacities for action. It is about creating and it is about learning processes. So let us all together revive the medical librarianship profession in ways that we can. And with that, good day to everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Grade 1 in BB Dikshit Library, AIIMS, New Delhi. He, is, he has professional experience of 25 years for medical librarianship in AIIMS. He is life member of Medical Library Association of India and Indian Library Association. He has been honored with the GM Kumar Best Paper Award in the field of medical librarianship in the year 2011. Mr. Khan has also honored with Best Staff Management Award in the field of Best Library and Information Services by Director, AIIMS, New Delhi. Over to Khan sir for his closing remarks.
Thank you, Neetu Priya. Before closing remarks, I would like to present a brief overview of BB Dikshit Library, AIIMS, New Delhi, India. History of AIIMS. All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, India. A library called BB Dikshit Library came into existing in 1956. In the year 1973, the collection shifted to present building and the new way was changed after the name of the founder, Institute Director, Dr. B.B. Dikshit. The library remained open round the clock 24 into 7 days a week, including Sunday, holiday, except a 6 national holiday in India. This is a monogram of B.B. Dikshit Library. The collection of B.B. Dikshit Library, it is one of the best reference library and information center in the field of medical sciences in South Asia, having huge collection and repository, more than 90,000 print books, 85,000 of books, bound volume journal, 8,000 of theses and excess of 1,500 of e-journals, 300 core collection of e-books. Major publishers, there are major publishers connect to BB Dikshit Library. Popular services, major medical database library has also 15 important database like Access Medicine, BMJ Best Practice, BMJ Case Report, Up to Date, Web of Science, NEGM Journal, Watch, HS Talks, Biomedical and Life Sciences Lectures, MBS JAMA, Evidence.
there are e-resources in BB Dikshit Library. Popular services. BB Dikshit Library has many popular services. Web OPEX services access to entire range of library holding bibliographical details, anti-plagiarism services through authenticate tools, citation analysis through Web of Science, Scopus, JCR tools, up-to-date access anytime, anywhere. Electronic thesis and dissertation through Institute repository. Recently, the BB Dikshit Library has started two major initiatives such research and information management systems and health knowledge learning development. Conclusion: BB Dikshit Library, AIIMS, New Delhi, open round the clock. It is knowledge hub for faculty, researcher and healthcare scientists. Library has 80% of e-resources which are provided through remote access service anytime, anywhere. This is the activities of libraries. Participate in today webinar. The total registered participants are more than 700. From India 400, from Philippines 250, Nepal 23 and other countries. The certificate will be given 2 weeks after this webinar. It will be sent to your email address. Only registered participant will given the certificate with webinar recording. Honorable Professor Randeep Guleria, Director of AIIMS, New Delhi, India, respected Professor Rajeshwari, Head, Department of Anesthesiology, and the Chairperson of BB Dikshit Library, AIIMS, New Delhi. Our most valuable guest, speaker and participant. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this international webinar. On the behalf of Webinar Management Committee, I extended a very hearty vote of thanks to all speakers for gracing his important work and sharing with us his finding and opinion today on the occasion of Padam Shri Dr. S.R. Ranganathan 129th birth anniversary. He is now as Father of Library Science in India. I would like to thank the Director of AIIMS New Delhi for permitting us the international webinar series during the COVID-19 pandemic. We are also thankful for his wonderful keynote address. Despite of his busy schedule, he found time to deliver few words. His views are very useful our participant. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for Professor Rajeshwari, the Chairperson of Library Committee, for the special address of this webinar. Further, we are grateful to Ms. M. Lorna E. Delgado, President of MALAP, for excellent information about MALAP Association, the Philippines. I thank to Dr. Lindy Masalinto, Chief Librarian, UPH Library, Ms. Alma Mila Prospero, Advisor MALAP, and Dingilo Restelo Lagustan, Chief Librarian, Bird City College, Philippines. Their wonderful contribution, we are all inspired by his great bird. We are very much thankful to Dr. Santanu Ganguly, the Chief Librarian, AIIMS, for an excellent presentation on SDG 3.0 Open Knowledge and Guidance as a team coordinator in this webinar series. I thank Mr. Prashant Srivastav, Mr. Deepak Shukla, Ms. Neetu Priya, who came with us full-time technical support behind this webinar. I again thank the entire teams of MALAP Philippines set facility of providing the beautiful studio. IT staff Mr. Sujin Barik and others, BB Dikshit Library staff, AIIMS, wonderful technical support and coordination. Last but not least, I am hearty thankful to all participants who are connected with us. Without their discipline, the webinar was not successful possibly. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, Khan sir, for closing remarks on behalf of AIIMS. Now the platform is open for question answer session. This will be moderated by Dr. Shantanu Ganguly and his team.
Thank you, Ms. Nitu. Thank you, all the participants who are there. May I request all my esteemed speakers from Philippines, starting from Emiliano Delgado, Dr. Lindy, then Prosperoso and Danzielo Agustilo Lagusta, everybody to put on their videos so that we can start taking the questions and we can address whatever questions are coming on the chat box. So we will, and first of all, on my personal behalf, I would like to thank my entire team of Bibi Dikshit Library. Thanks to Malap, the president, the entire team of Malaf, the Alma, Lindy, and everybody, coming together and making this National Librarian Day the best successful one I have ever, convened. I have convened several conferences in the past. Some of them are very noted one. I'm sure many of you know that is ICDL, International Conference on Digital Landscape or Digital Library. So I mean, these I have been, but this is one of the best ones, and as a webinar I have conducted. So anybody has got any questions, you can write on the chat box. We will try to give answers to the questions. And but one thing, what as I want to reiterate once again that what my colleague Mr. Jahangir Khan said, that certificates will be provided to all the registered participants. But one of the important thing is that it will be provided to all the participants who have stayed with us, because we are going to bring out the analytics till the end of the program, and they have contributed by their presence in this particular event, and e-certificate will be sent to you through your email ID. So it is going to take a week or so for putting together all the information, and then it will be sent to you. So in a 1 or 2 weeks, you will be getting the responses from the team of Malap as well as from AIIMS. You will be getting. So Nitu, is there any questions are there? So can we take up 1 or 2 questions if they are there? Huh? No, there's no questions. So well, we don't find a good any questions are there. I am sure these questions would be available in the long term also. So anybody has got, so if you have all must have received an email and all, so you can send out your questions to us. We would be happy to reply back to you as much as possible. So we will do that. So with that, we come to an end of this particular program. But before closing down, I would request if Dr. Delgado or Dr. Lindy or Mr. Dr. Lagustan, somebody would like to say something before we close down.
Yes, sir. One of the question is HIPAA is open access.
Okay. To all the participants, thank you so much. To my words, as librarians, it is our ultimate goal to give services. We need at the right time.
Okay. Dr. Delgado, would you like to say something?
Thank you. To all participants, thank you very much for your participation. Stay safe.
Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Delgado. I think you have to mute yourself. You have muted yourself. Yes, now we can hear you.
To all participants, thank you very much for participating on this event. Stay safe always. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Lagusta, would you like to say something? Dr. Lagusta? Alma Peros? Alma, are you there?
Yes, Dr. Shantanugan Guli and team, thank you so much for this great collaboration. I would like to wish everyone a happy Librarians Day.
Thank you.
And I hope this has been a very fruitful and very productive day for all of us.
Oh, yes.
Mabuhay and salamat again.
Salamat. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Alma. And Lagustan, Dr. Lagustan, are you there? Danzelo? Danzelo, are you there? I don't know if my friend Shirley is there. Shirley, are you there? Shirley Cruz, SLA. Shirley, are you there? In fact, thanks to Shirley Cruz, because she was the person instrumental in getting us connected to Malap, and we had a first interaction when we got connected to Dr. Lindy, then Alma Peros and everybody. We started working on it. So I mean, it was a wonderful connectivity. Thank you very much, Shirley. You are always helpful to me. In fact, I remember when I was there in your Philippines during the ICOCEL conference and all, the kind of hospitality you have extended to all of us, to the entire team. It was absolutely, I don't know when is the next time would be visiting to Philippines. It's always great pleasure in visiting Philippines there. It's always a great pleasure for me. So with that, thank you very much, Dr. Delgado, Dr. Lindy, and Dr. Alma Peros for your contributions and collaborating with us in this particular conference. And thank you very much to all my esteemed participants from across the globe who have joined through this Google link as well as through YouTube. And also thankful to entire fraternity of AIIMS, of All India Institute of Medical Sciences, the doctors fraternity, the resident doctors fraternity, the faculty members, Professor Randeep Guleria, the director sir, as well as my, the entire IT team like Susan and his team and all, and Yogesh, they helped us a lot, giving us this entire beautiful studio one where we can all of us sit together and we can have this entire event fruitfully and all. So thank you very much, and stay safe, stay healthy and all. Okay, so I would request everybody to please come. Please come. पीछे कुछ लोग बैठ जाते वो कैमरा तुम्हारे वो है ना मोबाइल स्वैप कर So Alma will say victory. We all of us will say we. We did it. Prashant, Deepak. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye. See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See ya. See ya. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Santano.
Thank you. Thank you, dear. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lagostan. I was looking for you.
Yeah, I have problems with the internet connection. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Shantano.
Congratulations to you, Lindy. Congratulations to Delgado and Lagostan also.
Thank you to your team, Dr. Santano.
Yes. Okay. Huh?